Welcome to this online healing retreat, Brain Boosters Frequency Medicine Program with Dr. Louise Swartswalter. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you felt a positive vibration from that music as it was created literally by the universe as mathematical equations were assigned to musical notes, and that music was what you just heard. I would like to thank you for being here, taking time on your Saturday to learn how we can improve the brain. Dr. Louise Swartswalter is here with some very valuable information, and she's also going to share a healing session with you through sound healing. Dr. Louise, thank you so much for being here on this online healing retreat.
Thank you, Loren. It's a pleasure to be here today. I absolutely love the brain, and I love sharing information with people, and I also make sure that every time I do something, it feels to me like I have to make sure there's some kind of healing that takes place for the group. So, you guys will be receiving some frequencies later here today to help you shift, to help you have a better day, help you have a better Saturday. So again, thanks for being here today. And I'm going to go through just a quick little PowerPoint that's going to explain a little bit about the brain and what I learned also about working with the brain and why I'm passionate about that and how you can help transform your brain. So this is the 7 steps to permanent change. Do you have ADD or ADHD? Do you or a family member have autism, Tourette's, Asperger's, or even just allergies? Do you have Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, or any other neurological issues? Do you want to optimize your memory or just increase your brain power? Or do you maybe want just more energy and better sleep? Actually, I recently found another piece of literature here that talks about neurological disorders. And it says some 50 million people in this country, that's 1 in 5, suffer from some kind of nervous system damage or just impairment. I thought that was pretty big, 1 in 5. So I was like, wow, that's huge. We really do need to be working on the brain because in my experience, I found that when you change the brain, everything changes. The whole body changes. And so even though I can work on all the other organs and work with the adrenals and work with different systems of the body as a naturopath and a biofeedback therapist, I find that when you work on the neurological system, when you work on balancing the neurotransmitters, everything else changes. And so what we're going to learn today is those 7 steps to optimize brain power, focus, memory, and intelligence. We're going to discover the importance of the heavy metal connection to your healthy brain communication. We're going to learn about some foods, the nutrition, detoxing, and supplements. And we're going to make a very important connection between your hormones and your neurotransmitters and your digestion and what that's all about. And we're also going to learn and understand some self-help techniques for stress reduction and for balancing. Because everything is really related to stress as well, so it's stress in the brain. I'll tell you a little bit about my story and how I even got here. I grew up in the 50s, so I grew up on sugar. You know, my mom cooked really well. My dad sold cookies for a living, and so I had 14 mercury fillings in my mouth by the time I was 22 years old. I'm from Illinois originally. Now I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and own Albuquerque Natural Health Center, and we just moved into a brand new office space that's really nice. So that's where I am now. But I grew up in Illinois, and I attended Illinois State University. I graduated with a special education degree. I'm kind of a jock. I played on the volleyball team. I taught special ed for 29 years, both in public and private schools. So I was working with kids with brain issues all the time. And I was always asking myself questions. And wondering, you know, how come they could read one day and they had more difficulty the next day. And then after my son was born, I had chronic fatigue and a lot of allergies and hormone imbalances, and that was the beginning of my quest for looking for better health. And I pretty much really did crash, as you'll see here in a minute. So I had a dentist who said to me, you know, if you remove all those fillings, you're going to feel better. And he convinced me that I should just do it. And I was already weak to begin with, and so that was the beginning of a lot of health issues for me, and everything from chemical sensitivities to chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. I have lots of labels, multiple sclerosis, memory issues, panic attacks. So it's my life experience really, and what I went through, and my teaching experience, and my own 20-year journey back to health that really helps me today in my world of work and in my business. I'm able to be a detective. I can kind of figure things out for people that where they haven't found answers for some of their health issues, and it's really again because of my own path. And so I combine naturopathy with biofeedback, with energy work, and also teach lots of other classes. And today I have to say I'm incredibly grateful for what I experienced and what I went through, because it taught me so much, and it really did allow me to be who I am today and do what we can do for people today. And I know a picture saves 1,000 words, so I thought I'd show you guys the picture. I was on oxygen for 3 years and had no front teeth. And was, again, it's a long journey, so I had to learn a lot about not just diet, not just chemicals, but how to balance your lifestyle, and also I learned a lot about dental products, and so I can speak to dentists like I'm one of them, and it was because I had to research how to put my mouth back together as well. So the lower picture, I was finally able to travel. I was at a car show in Las Vegas actually in 1998, and then the picture at the top is of me currently today. And so it's good. It's all really good. But I'm so excited to be here and to share all this with you, and hope that if you're having challenges that we can help you as well. And so what really happened was my teaching experience and working with all of those kids over the years. I worked at, I don't like these words because I don't like labels, but at the time they called some of the children, instead of learning differences, the words were learning disabilities, and the word was behavior disordered. And so I worked at a day camp for 4 or 5 summers in a row with autism and other imbalances. And then I went on and actually got another certification where I became a private therapist to work specifically with dyslexic students and teaching them to read in a sort of, it was more of a tutoring situation. It was a one-on-one therapy where I was almost like doing physical therapy through their brain. And what we used is we used a multisensory program, meaning what I did was work with what they saw, with what they heard, with what they wrote, and what they felt. So it was sort of very kinesthetic. And so what I learned too was how they processed information, how they retained information, more about speaking, writing, and communicating. And so I was almost able to sort of peek inside of them and see, hey, that's how your brain is sort of absorbing this information. You have a strength in the auditory area, or another child would have a strength in the visual area. And so I was able to sort of really just to hone in on that and really get a benefit from seeing how people's brains worked and what was making them tick. It was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And so that multisensory approach that I use with my dyslexic students and teaching them to read and write effectively, what I actually do now, and I believe that this applies to also all healing issues. And what I mean by that is this, is many of us are aware that, when we're seeking balance in our lives, someone might seek out not just a medical doctor, but maybe a chiropractor or an acupuncturist, or they might using essential oils, and so they're looking for the pieces of the puzzle that may help them. They may go to a therapist. They may be working with someone doing energy work to help balance their emotions, their emotional body. And what I found is that, yes, those are all very good, and I know that I did it on my own healing journey. But when you do them simultaneously, you get the best results. And so I started playing with that and realizing that, yes, I can help someone figure out what nutrition they need, because that's what I did for myself. And I can help work with the emotions, and I do trauma release techniques for people and brain-soul balancing and work on the emotions. And yes, we can also, work on the structural body by putting a tailbone back in line or a clavicle bone back in line. And so when you start working on all those areas, when you're addressing the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual, and the energy field, you get the best result. And so I started playing with that and doing that. And what it feels to me like is people go further faster. So it seems like one of my biofeedback sessions is like 5 kinesiology sessions. And I also realized, because I had a ton of allergies, that allergies and sensitivities also play a big part in healthy brain responses and your mood and your neurotransmitter function. So that was another piece that I address. And now a lot of my biofeedback programs, I have 5 of them, address as well. So this is just a picture of the different parts of the brain and how your brain functions. And of course, in the middle you can see the corpus callosum, and that's like the midline of your whole brain. And so when your right and left brain on either side of that corpus callosum are working, you're really on. If you can get right and left brain really functioning, you can create more in your lives. I'm not going to go over everything here, but I want to point out the hypothalamus, which is this tiny, tiny little gland in the middle of your brain. And it's probably even no bigger than your thumbnail. And yet it regulates everything. It's the hypothalamus that tells the pituitary gland what to do and what hormones to secrete. And so it's super, super important. Some of you who have been on some of those HCG diets, which is human growth hormone. Human growth hormone is secreted by the hypothalamus. So what you're doing when you're looking at losing weight is you're looking at rebalancing the hypothalamus. So in my brain programs, I can work directly on the hypothalamus and help shift that for people through using biofeedback programs. So it's not just adding a nutritional supplement in, but it's helping change the brain right then and there. It's pretty cool, actually. Another piece of the puzzle is definitely healing from heavy metal poisoning. And I just told you a little bit about my story. So mercury amalgam actually is a combination of mercury, nickel, and other metals. And I know that I had, I couldn't remember anything. My phone number was written in my wallet. My fingertips would tingle. My legs would tingle. I had sleep issues. I had depression. Everything was out of balance. I ended up in a sauna program for 5 weeks, a actually medical-driven program where we spent every day in a dry heat sauna sweating heavy metals and chemicals out of our bodies. So I used my skin as my biggest organ. When your liver and kidney are not working to help you detox, you can use your skin to do that. And I still take a sauna a week, so I do a sauna every week. But what I learned was the metals caused also adrenal and thyroid issues, and I often see copper related to thyroid issues today. Digestion imbalances, panic attacks, poor recall, short-term memory issues, and speech issues. So it's really important to understand a little bit more about metals and the heavy metals that we're exposed to in our environment today, and how you can begin to start detoxing those and help your brain function better as well. And so I was labeled by the medical profession as all different things: chronic fatigue, MS, fibromyalgia, multiple allergies, and really my quest again for my own health was I just wanted my brain to work again. And then it was, just a miracle, I guess, God's plan, that I was able to work with all those children and actually learn about their brains, and then of course work on healing my own. And so that's why my passion is to help you with this today. And so there's really 7 steps to permanent change that I found. And so these are, again, really important 7 steps, simple steps. You want to get rid of the heavy metals. You want to do heavy metal and chemical detoxing. I often see, when I say chemical detoxing, I often see pesticides as an issue for people. So pesticides and herbicides not only will cause cancer, but they are the cause of learning problems, asthma, allergies, and a lot of brain imbalances, including depression. And cancer, too. So I often see dioxin, especially in reproductive organ cancers, such as prostate and breast and ovarian and cervical. And then it's also the viruses and pathogens that come in to clean those up. The second step is nutrition and rebuilding. The third step is addressing the food allergies and the sensitivities. The fourth step is balancing the neurotransmitters. The fifth step is keeping a healthy environment, especially your home environment, using natural products and things in your home. The sixth step is emotional rebalancing and building self-esteem. And the seventh step is looking at the spiritual body and the soul level healing, which I also think is so important. And so let's look at the brain and heavy metals. The picture that you see there is of an axon, and an axon is a nerve, and it connects to the dendrite. And there's a synapse, there's actually a space. And that little space is where the neurotransmitters spark. And so they are sending the message to the other nerve so that your brain can get that message. And so that's how the nervous system kind of works very basically. The synapse, or that space, I found, is the spiritual body. So when you heal the spiritual body, other pieces, other parts of you heal as well. And that's why working with the spiritual body, with prayer, whatever you believe in, whether it just is a belief. If you believe in God, if you believe in Jesus, if you believe in Buddha, if you believe in the fairies, whatever it is, it's that faith that is important in healing as well. So the metals and the environmental chemicals which contain metals are a big part of the cause of all illness today. So what you'll see with ADD and ADHD is often lead. And I have a kit that I use that has a homeopathic remedy to release the lead. And we'll watch kids or adults calm down and have better brain power after they use these homeopathic to help detox that, in addition to the biofeedback. Autism, you're going to see mercury and other heavy metals. I have a little boy I'm working with now who's 4. He's made incredible progress in a short period of time. The highest metal in him happens to be aluminum. And so when I broadcasted aluminum to him through my beautiful Balanced Brain program is when he made the biggest jump and leap in his progress. And so we are slowly detoxing the metals as well as the viruses and rebalancing his neurotransmitters. And it's only been about 10 sessions. And this a couple years would have taken me a year to get him where he is today. And it's because I have a new program that I'm working with. So I just deeply love that. It's just so amazing to see the changes in him. And then in MS, you're going to see mercury and other chemicals. You're going to see heavy metals related to all autoimmune imbalances, whether it's lupus, arthritis, asthma, allergies, cancer. Copper is often the heavy metal you'll see in especially reproductive organ cancers and thyroid issues. High blood pressure is related to cadmium and other heavy metals in the kidney. Alzheimer's is aluminum in the brain. I have another theory on Alzheimer's that I want to share with you today. I don't think it's just the heavy metals. I actually think it's the cellular memory creates lesions in the brain that have to do with emotional traumas. And they don't have to be big things. They can be someone looked at you the wrong way when you were 3 years old or took your toy away and you felt rejected or betrayed. And it's those lesions, those memories that are attached in the brain that have to be released. And when those are released and you work on the heavy metals, I think you can make great, great changes in things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. I've worked with some Parkinson's people, and It's definitely heavy metals. I often see pesticides along with lead and petroleum, and that's going to be the viruses that get stuck in the spine. So you're going to see Coxsackie virus, you're going to see herpes, and you're going to see others. So I guess what the most that you can take away with today on this is that to understand that we live in kind of a chemically laden world, and that those chemicals have metals in them, and you want to always be working on doing some kinds of good antioxidants, which we'll talk about, eating, of course, healthy food, exercising, sweating, to get those out. And then you can do things like homeopathic remedies and herbs and things to always work on those viruses, to work on those pathogens, those parasites that come in. They actually serve a purpose. They come in to clean up those heavy metals and chemicals. And so just know that, and you will have taken away something today that you certainly can apply in your life. Again, you could go into metals for like 2 hours. So we're just going to briefly talk about just a couple. Aluminum in the brain, there's lots of sources for aluminum. Aluminum foil, of course cans, ceramics, cosmetics. The effects might be ALS, Alzheimer's, anemia, behavior problems, cavities, colds, neuromuscular disorders, numbness, osteoporosis, Parkinson's, and the list goes on. So I'm not going to read all that to you. With lead, lead is in car exhaust, it's in ash, it's in battery manufacturing, it's in canned fruits and juices sometimes, it's in cigarette smoke, it's in colored ink, it's in glass, it's in hair dye. It can be in non-organic meats, it can be in paint, it's definitely in pesticides. So lead is huge. In fact, they say babies are born today with lead in them. So those are the places you'll find lead. And then the effects are great. And again, the one we're talking about today would be mostly ADD, ADHD. But you'll often see it again with dyslexia, immune suppression, kidney issues, mood swings, definitely mood swings. I think lead is the cause of a lot of depression and those imbalances. And muscle weakness also can be lead. And lead is the same size molecule as calcium. So lead displaces calcium in the bones. So when you're working with osteoporosis, it's always about getting the lead out first, doing some kind of detoxing to get the lead out of the bones, and then rebuilding with good sources of vitamin D and calcium. Mercury, I talked a little bit about my own story, but mercury's in air-conditioned filters, it's in algicides, antiseptics, it's in battery manufacturing, it's in talcum powders, so body powders, broken thermometers, the old-fashioned thermometers, cosmetics, dental amalgams, fungicides, germicides. It can be in paper products. It's in sources like Preparation H, psoriasis ointment. It can also be in seafood, tanning leather, tattooing, so sources of mercury. It can cause many different things in the body, everything again from adrenal dysfunction to allergies, to birth defects, to brain damage, to depression, dermatitis, unhealthy gums, joint pain, kidney damage. The right kidney filters heavy metals, and the left kidney filters pathogens. So often in my office I'll find out if someone has back pain and I'll ask what side it's on. And it will give me a clue as to whether we're working with metals in the body or pathogens or both. So how do you get rid of all these metals? Okay? So again, I want to be the, I don't want to be the naysayer here. I want to help you see that there's choices and there's ways to do all this so I can empower you all. You want to eat more greens. You can take something called N-L-acetylcysteine, also known as NAC. Stable glutathione is awesome. I have a stable glutathione that I really like. And what I mean by that is it's a stable molecule and it gets absorbed better. Vitamin C, alpha-lipoic acid, garlic, cilantro, vitamin C, and milk thistle protects the liver. You can sweat more. Doing any kind of sweaty physical activity and taking a shower afterwards is also a great way to keep your body clean. Breath work, yoga, martial arts, biofeedback. I use my biofeedback programs to detox heavy metals all the time. Balance hormones, and you can balance the stressors and the pathogens with biofeedback. And another good way to detox metals is sauna. There's a ton of benefits with glutathione, though, and I want to just touch upon this because if you're not familiar with this product, you want to be. Because glutathione is an anti-aging enzyme. It's made in the second phase of the liver, and it's an awesome antioxidant. It conjugates heavy metals. It protects your proteins from oxidation. It helps preserve the mitochondria in the cell. It promotes the production of energy units in the body. It protects that lining of your gut. We're going to see the gut connection here in a minute. It helps prevent oxidation of the antioxidants, so it actually helps you using your vitamin C and E better. And it activates the enzymes in what we call the methylation process, which just means how you detox, how your body gets cleaned up. So it's awesome stuff, and you actually can get that on my website if you'd like. So I have found, again, my whole quest was getting better, and of course I did nutrition, and I did some emotional balancing, and I hiked all the time, and I prayed, but when I found biofeedback is when I really started getting better. And I call it biofeedback, and that is what it is called, but it's more like bioresonance. So now I have 5 different programs that I use with people, and I find there's a different application for each. And the way that it works is everything is energy. So if we can agree that everything is energy, and everything vibrates at a particular frequency, then through frequency you can change. Just like many of you might know something called the Rife machine. And a Rife machine is was put together by a guy named Lyle Rife years ago, and he found out that certain frequency would zap the pathogens, would take care of parasites, fungus, bacteria, viruses. So this is kind of like Rife on steroids because it does everything. It's looking at the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual bodies. So I like to think of it as what it's doing for you is it's rebooting the hard drive of your field, your energy field. And I do a demonstration where I show people through muscle testing that if they have back pain, so if you can just imagine if you're holding your hand on your back and where you have the pain, and I'm muscle testing you, and I say the pain is here, and you're holding your back, and through muscle testing it shows the pain is not there. Then I put my hand a little farther out, 4 inches from your actual pain, where the pain is on your physical body in your back. And it may show a yes. If you put your hand even further out, a foot away, 2 feet away from the body, through muscle testing I can show you that the pain starts in the field. It starts in your energy field. So if we don't work on the field using biofeedback, some other work I do, geotrend work, you're not going to get to the source of the pain. So stuff starts in the energy field and then moves in. So that's why we have to work on all those different areas. And it's also the reason why I get such incredible results with these programs is because I'm working in the quantum field. It works like sending a fax. So in my office I have people come in and they're hooked up. And so what I mean by that is there's a wire around the forehead and one on each wrist ankle, and you can see some of this on my website. And I think we can put that up later for you, but it's abqnaturalhealthcenter.com. Oops. Did we flip out of that? Did you want to show that, Loren?
Sure. Give me a moment. I'll type it in.
Okay, because I know we flipped to an email page here. But there is a video, there's a couple of videos on there that actually show this so you can see what I'm talking about. So that was my point. And so what I'm doing is I'm balancing the stressors in the body. So you can balance, again, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual through using biofeedback programs. My newest program I'm calling the Beautiful Balanced Brain, and I'm creating all the brain what I call trays in there. And so I'm putting all the brain information in there. And so I put the neurotransmitters in that program. And so I'm able to actually broadcast those neurotransmitters to people. I don't know if you realize that you're on you're not on the PowerPoint anymore. Did you know that, Loren?
Yes, we are on a slide that might not be in the order here, Louise.
Because right now I'm on my, I don't see the slides at all. I'm looking at my email.
Okay then, Louise, at the bottom of your screen, look for that little blue daisy, and that'll bring back up the,
okay, there we go.
Okay.
Okay, so my newest program includes the Solfeggio frequencies, okay? And the Solfeggio frequencies were used by they're Gregorian chants, so they were used by the monks. And they can repair DNA. And so each one of these frequencies represents something. And so what I'd like to do is actually play these for you right now. So let me get that going so that you can feel these. I've had people who said, you know, after you played these, my headache went away. Or after you played these frequencies, everything changed. So what I have found is when I do this on my Brain Boosters groups, everything shifts for people. Even in a month, people sometimes have health issues that go away. So let's listen. So this is, these are the frequencies. So 396 is liberating guilt and fear. 417 is undoing situations and facilitating change. 528 is transformation and miracles. It repairs the DNA. 639 is connecting relationships. 741 is awakening intuition. And 852 is returning to spiritual order. So here's just a circle schematic drawing of it. And so they're actually connected to, so like the third note, the frequency of 528, relates to the note mi on the scale. And so it's derived from the phrase mira gestorum, and in Latin it means miracle. And this is actually the exact frequency used by genetic biochemists to repair our broken DNA and our genetic blueprint. And so I believe that because I play these for sometimes a half an hour, people will listen to them with headphones if they're in my office. But I play them long distance for people as well. And they will shift, they will feel it, they will get healthier, and that's what's happening. I got an email from people all the time saying, you know, my headache went away, I'm feeling more relaxed, I'm sleeping better. It's pretty cool. So you just imagine as you're listening to these, that you're allowing the guilt and the fear just to be released. Just let it go. That all the pain, if you're experiencing pain anywhere in your body, know that it's leaving now. And then allow the change. Allow yourself to experience the changes that you desire. Visualize every cell in your body being repaired. Any unhealthy cells are feeling their positive frequency, the frequency of 528. 528. Your DNA is being upgraded and repaired as we speak. Picture yourself connecting and understanding relationships on a healthier level. Know that everything is so, just as God planned. Allow yourself to awaken to your own intuition. What you feel in your gut is the truth. So follow it. Allow that returning to your own soul, to your spiritual order. Allow yourself to be 100% in authority of who you are. And experience that deeper connection with light, that connection with spirit, that connection with God. And feel that deep in your heart and allow it to be there with you now. So here's just another schematic graph, if you will, that explains that each one of these frequencies has to do with a different color, a different chakra. And so Ute is red. I'm starting at the bottom here. So it's the basic chakra. It has to do with liberating guilt and fear. The frequency is 396. It's connected to the earth, and it has to do with your adrenals, the base of your spine, your legs, your feet, your bones, your teeth, your large intestines, your circulation, your elimination. So you can see the things it can work on there. It can work on weight problems, it can work on hemorrhoids, constipation, arthritis, knee problems, insecurities and fears. And then Ray is orange, and it's 417 hertz, and it has to do with resolving past traumas and facilitating change. It's the second chakra, so it's the spleen chakra. It has to do with water. So the associated body parts are your gonads, your ovaries, your womb, the testes, the genitals, the kidneys, and the prostate. Impotence, rigidity, uterine, bladder, kidney, lower back, low self-esteem, overindulgence, jealousy, and emotional knee is yellow, golden. It's the stomach chakra. It has to do with 528 hertz, which is transformation and miracles. This is your DNA repair. The element is fire. It's associated with the pancreas, digestion, liver, gallbladder, stomach, your nervous system, your muscles. Its related dysfunction might be ulcers, diabetes, hypoglycemia, digestive disorders, gallstones, fatigue, anxiety, control issues, and negative thinking. Thought is green. This is the heart chakra. The frequency is 639. It has to do with connecting relationships. The element is air. The associated body parts are your thymus, your heart, your lungs, your breast, your immune system, and your circulatory and respiratory system. Dysfunctions here might be asthma, lack of self-love and acceptance, loneliness, emotional instability, heart problems, soul is blue. This is the fifth chakra. The frequency is 741 hertz. It has to do with expression and communication. The body parts are thyroid, parathyroid, throat, esophagus, larynx, neck and shoulders. the auditory system. You might have dysfunction in thyroid, hearing, sore throat, stiff neck, colds, sluggish metabolism, weight problems, creative blocks, depression, and weak willpower. La is indigo. It has to do with the sixth chakra. The frequency is 852 hertz. This has to do with the third eye, so it's intuition. The element is light. The body parts are the pituitary, the pineal gland, the brain, the hypothalamus, the nose, the eyes, and the nervous system. The dysfunction like headache, eye strain, blurred vision, nightmares, sinus problems, severe headaches, nervous breakdown, bad dreams, lack of connection. You can see when we're working on all of these frequencies and these sounds, what can really happen is balance of the entire body, all the organ systems, all those related dysfunctions. I have had people who've been in our groups, and in 1 month, things like enlarged uteruses went away. It's amazing. I'm going to lower the sounds now. I'll still play them in the background, so you'll still be receiving these. So you're still receiving the Solfeggio frequencies as we continue here, just so that I'm making sure you guys have some good healing that takes place out of this today. Another part of working with the brain is definitely nutrition and rebuilding. I call these the basics because I find that just these 3 things will help shift people. I had a little boy with asthma several years ago, and these three supplements is what took his asthma completely away. So I gave him some good minerals. So these are complete minerals. So it's a balanced multiple mineral formula. So these are my products, and I frequency enhance them with the frequencies you're hearing, as well as some for digestion and just feel good kind of frequencies. So that all is in these supplements. Omega 600 is just a good fish oil, so it's a very pure pharmaceutical grade, and it's been tested for all the heavy metals and mercury. Make sure it doesn't have that in it, because I can't take anything that has that in it, so I won't sell anything like that. I can't do that. That's just me. And then the probiotic daily is a vegetarian, and it's nice because it doesn't have to be refrigerated. It's a pretty strong one. So I find that people will often just do 1 a day, and then after that they may not even need that. They may need 1 a day or 1 every other day. So I like that too because it's more affordable for people. But that's the basics. So I want you to be doing the basics. And we have some awesome brain supplements that I like as well. One is called Mood Max and Total Recall. I'll show you those here in a minute. So we can do the next slide. Mood Max. In fact, I run out of this all the time. It's just so popular. It helps balance mood. So it has amazing ingredients in it to do that. And I just added selenium too, which really supports calmness and healthy mood as well. So I'm watching this just, again, transform people, get people even off of their medications if they desire to do that. Total Recall is an awesome brain formula. It has the ginkgo biloba. It has the vinpocetine, I think that's how you say that, but L-carnitine is in there, and phosphatidylserine. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more ahead here, but phosphatidylserine helps with memory. It's an amazing supplement that helps the spark of those neurotransmitters they flow better. So that's really what's happening. So this helps not only endocrine balance, but also how we're methylating. So in a sense, it's also a good antioxidant. But I've watched this too. I have an 84-year-old client who's done incredibly well with that. Her whole life has changed on that. Some basic nutrition do's and don'ts. You want to limit refined sugar, read labels. Okay, sugar is just going to age you. It's going to cause wrinkles, and it's going to cause your brain to not work as well. So sugar's in almost everything. You want to read labels. Make sure you're staying away from sucrose, dextrose, maltose, lactose, and fructose. Some healthy sugars would be stevia, honey, maple syrup, brown rice syrup, xylitol. You want to limit the yeasty foods such as breads and pizza. Sometimes when people go on those paleo diets and they're starting to eat more vegetables and meats is when they start to feel better because they're limiting all of this starchy carbohydrates that we don't need that much of. You want to eat only fermented soy like in miso. Soy is estrogenic and it puts the thyroid out of balance. Eat organic as much as you can. Definitely read labels and stay away from the preservatives such as MSG, food dyes, and other preservatives. You want to think to go back to what I always say, go back to what great-great-grandma did. Eat simple, healthy, colorful fruits and vegetables and be thinking, what would great-grandma have in this food? If it comes in a box, it's probably not good for you. Whoops. So you want to shop the outside aisles of the grocery store. Some common food allergies are dairy, wheat, gluten, corn, and sugar. And they're inflammatory, meaning they will cause inflammation in the body. So you want to use rice strain milk, almond milk, hemp milk, coconut milk, and those kinds of substitutes. And I want to just impress upon you the fact that the food allergy thing is a big thing. You don't think it is, but you don't realize that wheat can cause depression and that we actually crave what we're allergic to. So that's super important to know. I know I craved sugar, I craved the wheat, I craved all that stuff. My first doctor said to me, you can't have pizza anymore. I grew up in Chicago. We grew up on Chicago pizza. My first comment was, how am I going to have a party? That's what I thought at that time. So, 25 years later, I don't think I've had pizza 4 times in the last 20 years. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy some gluten-free stuff once in a while and make your own and do some healthy ingredients with that. But food allergies and sensitivities can cause everything from those migraine headaches, weight problems, asthma, irritable bowel, runny nose, food cravings, joint pain, indigestion, bladder issues, fatigue, and hyperactivity. I will often see children with the ADD, ADHD who are allergic to wheat and dairy and corn. Skin problems. Dairy products do cause acne, so if you have acne issues and you take yourself off of dairy and you start using some good probiotics and working with some of those alternative kinds of milks, you'll feel better. Food sensitivities can cause water retention and mood swings. And this is really what is happening in your body, is they cause what we call leaky gut. So leaky gut occurs when the mucus lining of your small intestine gets too porous, and it allows the toxins and the food particles and the pathogens then to enter your bloodstream. Then the immune system looks upon those as if they're invaders, almost like you've gotten a virus in your blood, and it begins to attack. And that's what actually sets up the whole autoimmune issue. Now you have allergies where you didn't before. But it's the small intestine also where we absorb all our nutrients. So, it can become leaky, and the 2 situations that will occur is you'll have those undigested proteins and pathogens end up in your blood. And now your cells aren't getting the nutrition they need because of the seepage. So I worked with somebody yesterday with an 11-year-old boy who definitely has some allergies to wheat and dairy. He already knew dairy wasn't good for him. He doesn't like it. So his body was telling him that. But he craves wheat and lives on wheat. And so his digestive system isn't working very well, and his cellular vitality is low because he's not getting the nutrition that he needs because of this scenario right here. Okay? So when we take him off of wheat, because I did this with my family, my daughter had allergies to everything after a pesticide company sprayed our home. And we had to take her off of wheat, oranges, bananas, beef, corn, oats, and onions. and work with her to rebuild her. And today she's 27 and doing fine. She still stays off the weed. Relationship between the gut and the brain. This is super important. So this is what happens. In your nervous system, there's a network of over 100 billion neurons in your gut. And these in the gut, and they not only signal our bodies to stress, but they can also cause illness. So you actually have more neurotransmitters in your gut than your brain. So every chemical found in the brain also exists in the gut. So if you get digestion working again and you have a healthy digestive system, your brain is going to work better. That's why I always advocate making sure people are on a good probiotic or eating cultured foods like sauerkraut. And here's what you guys are, I know people have heard this. You know what serotonin is. It's a neurotransmitter. But it's used in the gut. So 95% of your body's serotonin actually resides in your colon. And this chemical is responsible for all the one-way information communication in the brain. So it actually acts as a go-between, giving constant updates on the status of your gut. So those people who suffer with IBS and they have issues with the uptake of serotonin, and it leaves too much floating around, and then that can cause diarrhea. Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, you're going to find the lesions and the plaques in the brain are also in the gut. So if the nerves in your gut, meaning your colon, your small intestine, your large intestine, are sick, the nerves in your brain won't work as well either. So that's all good reason for, again, eating healthy foods. They say, you know, let thy food be thy medicine. It's true. So neurotransmitters are naturally occurring chemicals that send or relay messages through the brain. And when they're out of balance, our health is compromised. And what I want to show you that's exciting is that the neurotransmitters, when they're sparking, and they're here, those little purple balls are the neurotransmitters. And so these are nerves. So either side of them is the nerves. And what's happening is that space, that synapse as it's called, where the neurotransmitters are now sending the message to the next, to the nerve and passing it along, that space is your spiritual body. If you work on the masters in China say, if you work on the spaces, you will heal. This is one of those spaces. So that's why when you do some spiritual soul level healing, you can shift even your physical body. It's cool. This is just another picture of that happening as well. So those little neurotransmitters are getting up there. It's called serotonin reuptake. So the next dendrite, the next axon is receiving it. There's different types of neurotransmitters. Certain ones will have an inhibitory effect on the brain. These chemicals help to calm and relax us. They help protect us from extreme behavior like binge eating, drug addiction, and even violent behavior. Then there's other neurotransmitters that have an excitatory effect on the brain. And they stimulate this high level of energy and even our sex drive. So the major neurotransmitters, those feel-good neurotransmitters that you, again, probably have heard of, are endorphins. These are mood-elevating, enhancing. They're euphoric. They're natural pain relievers. Norepinephrine is excitatory. It helps you feel happy, alert, and motivated. It's an antidepressant. It helps appetite control, energy, and sexual arousal. Dopamine helps with those feelings of bliss and pleasure. They're appetite control. They help control motor movements and helping you feel focused. Acetylcholine is for alertness, memory, sexual performance, and release of the growth hormone. And phenylethylamine helps with feelings of bliss. It's involved in all feelings of infatuation. And that's what you're craving when you're craving chocolate. It's in chocolate. The inhibitory neurotransmitters are the enkephalins. They restrict the transmission of pain, they reduce craving, and they reduce depression. And GABA is found throughout the central nervous system. It's for anti-stress, anti-anxiety, anti-panic, so it's feeling calm and maintaining that control and that focus. And then most of you have heard, again, we talked about serotonin. There's also melatonin. These are considered hormonal as well. So melatonin helps you rest. Some people will take a melatonin supplement to help sleep at night. It regulates your body clock and it's anti-aging. It's actually secreted by, again, the pituitary pineal hypothalamus in the brain. That hypothalamus is helping regulate this. The oxytocin is stimulated by dopamine. It promotes sexual arousal and feelings of emotional attachment and that desire to cuddle. When we don't have that cuddling as a young child, we're missing that oxytocin. And so again, through biofeedback, you can help balance this. I talked about phosphatidylserine, which enables your brain cells to metabolize glucose better. It helps with learning, memory, other cognitive functions. So it's in total recall. It's in other brain supplements as well. But scientists have studied a lot with this, and they demonstrate that it restores the brain supply and output of acetylcholine, which helps memory, and it actually turns back that clock in an aging brain. So there's been a lot of research on this. They just discovered something called the lymphatic system, which is your brain's waste removal. So they've actually been doing research with Alzheimer's, and they found that this is the link to your brain's garbage truck theory. What that means is, and well, it's researchers at the University of Rochester Medical Center. They discovered this system of the brain, or this pathway of the brain, and they're calling it the lymphatic system. And what it does is, again, it's pulling out the heavy metals and the chemicals and the junk out of your brain. And so they're looking at this unknown plumbing system and you know, just studying it a little bit more. What's interesting is I think that, you know, again, I believe, because I see it every day, that I'm doing this. We're doing this with biofeedback. We're doing this with sound frequency. There's more than one way to work with this. Certainly, like I said, good nutrition is important. Healing the gut is important. But we're already doing this. You know, scientists are maybe, I don't know, I can't say they're behind, but they're discovering the actual technical stuff, but I'm doing it on a quantum physics level. This is just a picture of it, of that lymphatic system, and how the different layers work, and how metabolic wastes are pulled out from the nervous system, out of the dendrites and the axons, and they believe that it's being flushed through the actual nervous system out of the body. So that's what that is. Another piece of the puzzle is your healthy environment. Most of you know a lot about this already. I won't go into this. If you don't, certainly you can email me, ask me questions. I got tons of information on this. But it's using those natural cleaning products in your home. You know, things like Clorox and Pine Sol, those heavy, heavy-duty smelly things, really do affect your brain. So you want to use non-scented products. Go back to what great-grandma did. Okay, if you use vinegar and water to clean with, lemons are a great cleaner, baking soda. And then also personal care products are important. And I want to encourage you all to use natural toothpaste, because the fluoride is not, it's like the waste product from the aluminum industry. The fluoride that should be in there is called calcium fluoride. But fluoride damages the thyroid gland along with chlorine and bromine. And so all of us today are exposed to so much radiation that we need to take care of our thyroids. And so I want to encourage you to switch to a non-fluoride toothpaste. And there's a ton of them out there at all the health food stores, so start looking for that. Definitely use a natural method of controlling bugs. I could tell you story after story of how many people who have come in and have issues because of pesticides. I had another woman recently come in, and 4 years ago she had breast cancer, and she's had her house sprayed inside and outside with bug control for 4 months. It's a company that I've had a little bit of a fight with here in Albuquerque because of the chemicals that they're using. So I know that's what caused her breast cancer. My old office in front of me, it was 4 suites in that building, was a doctor who would not stop spraying pesticide for cockroaches. I convinced her to only spray her suite inside and not outside. And even with that, though, she's still constantly sprayed. I had another woman who worked for me who also then worked for her and ended up in the hospital with kidney problems. And she herself ended up having a mastectomy, had breast cancer, and it's from those chemicals. So pesticides, use diatomaceous earth, which you can get at a garden supply store. It's white powder. And you can use borax. You can use essential oils. You can use cayenne pepper. You can use mint. There's lots of natural ways of controlling ants and bugs. I have a whole book on this. If you want, I can email it to you. Just email me later. There's a great website. I'll give it to you guys now. It's called beyondpesticides.org. Go there and look that up, and you'll see all the alternatives, whatever issue you're having, whether it's in your garden or in your home. The other thing we want to look at is radiation and electrical protection, because we're all being exposed to our cell phones, the cell phone towers, our computers, certainly what happened in Japan. You know, so we do need protection from that, and that little picture of the bead is what bead that I wear. The other issue with environment is geopathic stress, which is stress from the earth, and there is a way to grid your properties to not have that geopathic stress. The clue is if you've had cancer or you have degenerative issues in your body or you're not sleeping well, you can first try moving your bed. If you move your bed, you might move it off of where those geopathic stress lines are, and you'll sleep better. So that's another important piece, and this is important for your brain. If your brain is not being overloaded by all of this stuff all the time, you're going to feel better, and it's going to work better, and your memory is going to be sharper. Some of my favorite places to work are definitely with emotions and with the spiritual body. I know the importance of all the nutrition and all the physical stuff we just talked about, but this is my sort of newest passion, if you will. When you work with emotions, you want to certainly protect yourself from negative people and places. So you want to get some good, strong boundaries. There's different tools you can use. Many of you might be using essential oils. You certainly want to have a clear intention, prayer. Hannah Kroger taught us you can just cross your arms in front of you if you're around negative people so that they don't invade your space. You can wash your hands often, spray with lavender water. I teach something called positive points and clearings in my Geotran class coming up at the end of October. Want to welcome you all to join that. And love. Love heals all. So you want to be gentle with yourself. You want to smile. When you smile on the outside, you're teaching your whole self really to smile on the inside. So say 3 things that you're grateful for every night, because grace brings joy. When you forgive and accept, and actually acceptance is just as important as forgiveness. In healing, we often talk about the fact that we need to forgive others or forgive ourselves, and that's true. That's very true. But a lot of stuff comes down to acceptance as well. So when you're not happy and you're not satisfied and there's always sort of something wrong, you're not in acceptance. You're not accepting what is. Now, it doesn't mean you want to be so in a place of acceptance where everything is always okay all the time and you're not motivated to do anything. That's not what I mean. I mean, you might have to accept some situations or some people around you and accept them for who they are, for both their strengths and their weaknesses, just like you want to do that with yourself. I also love the soul level work. So clearing the soul level ties that have inhibited you from being your true self. And we'll be doing a webinar on this. Loren and I just talked about this because this is powerful work, and I want to make sure that we're addressing this with you. It's definitely related to the brain because the spaces between the neurotransmitters is that spiritual soul level body. And so when you clear this, you clear that soul level lymphatic system we talked about. And everything is really related, the whole people. I'll try to do some of this on the September 19th Brain Boosters webinar to really help you see some of that soul level work and how you can release the energy from the people or the situations that have affected your balance in your life. So it's really powerful work. Again, I use lots of different tools, but I have 5 different biofeedback programs that work to balance your brain. They also all work long distance. Because it's quantum physics, it's like sending a fax. So I can send a text. It's like sending a text or a fax. I can send those frequencies long distance. And so all you have to do, if you join Brain Boosters, we'll talk about that right now, is enjoy those frequencies and receive them monthly. So do we have that other thing we can put up, Lynn, to explain this? So this is what I've developed. When I didn't have any more time to see, one-on-one clients, I thought, how can I help more people? And so I started developing groups. And so this started about 4 years ago, maybe 5 now. And so the first group that I actually started was for ADD, because I had a lot of students and their families I was working with, and I thought, what if I put them all in a group and work on them every week? Then they're getting weekly support. So I developed what I call Brain Boosters, and it was awesome. It just helped everybody shift. Well, now, of course, I use other machines, and now I have, I do 2 machines at the same time when I do this group. And so what I want to invite you all to do here is to join us. And so what I do is I work on the group using biofeedback every Wednesday night, and I send balancing frequencies for the brain. I send the Solfeggio frequencies that you also just heard, in addition to a whole of the program that I use to balance the circulation of the brain and the nerves of the brain and the spine and the emotions and other items, other things that you can do, color therapy that help balance the brain. And so what I want to offer you today is that it's $65 a month, but for 3 months, and I encourage 3 months, because what I've watched is it takes 12 sessions or 3 months to completely change the brain. And so for $165, you can have 3 months of frequencies, which will go all the way through December 12th. So it's the next 3 months here, actually a little bit longer than that. And you can put a family member in for free. And what that really boils down to is about $27.50 per person per month. Now, if you were going to do private sessions with me, and I encourage that too, if you have some issues that you want me to work on privately, we can do that. But if you did these sessions, it would be over $1,200. And so I want to help you see the value here. It includes monthly webinars. So we'll be doing a webinar next week, September 19th. And those are at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. There's another one October 17th, November 14th, and December 11th. And I wanted to offer you also to receive the ebook that I wrote on brain soul balancing. So you will receive that for free, because I just want you to experience this. I want as many people to know that they can do things more simply and really get the result that they want. And so all you're doing is saying some affirmations. You don't have to be present at 8:30 p.m. on every Wednesday night. You're in your home. I'm sending long-distance frequencies. I send an email to everybody with information that I might have that I find on the brain, and also what the theme will be for that Wednesday night. And so it's been amazing, the results that we've gotten. I've had students start with C grades and they're getting A's and B's. I had another woman that her son was in the group for the first time a couple years ago, and she said it was just amazing what happened with him that year. And so she came back this year and joined us for a meeting we had here in Albuquerque so we can put her son in that group again. But I get emails all the time from people like this. Good morning, Louise. What a great morning it is. I had the best sleep I've ever had. I feel so serene, focused, refreshed, and at ease. I could go on and on. Whatever you did last night was completely perfect. Thank you. And there's another woman whose son was in the group too, and she said, so could it be possible that Brain Boosters was working on my son? He told me today that he was nervous and thought he failed his test, only to find out that he did fairly well in his speech and his thoughts and he thought wasn't actually going to make a good grade, and he ended up getting an A on it. Could it be the energy of the brain boosters? Then she says, I believe, now it's getting my son to believe. And that's from Catherine. Marilyn woke up and she said, this morning I feel alive and you know, really on an even keel, ready to attack whatever the day brings in a balanced way. Thank you. I'm looking forward to upcoming sessions. This was from Sue. I'm definitely noticing a difference. When I wake up in the morning, everything is clear and crisp. I don't have any more brain fog. I'm not waking up as much in the middle of the night. I notice a slight improvement in my son and his general happiness. I think we're all doing better overall. Thank you so much, and I'll be in touch tomorrow. This was from April. I'm very happy to say that I'm experiencing a real and noticeable benefit from your work. Thank you so much. Being a practitioner myself, it's so nice to have someone else work on me, and I usually don't work on myself as often as I could, so thank you. I want to sign up, and this was a couple years ago. I did an 11-11-11 thing, and so we had her whole family in that group. So there's just been miracles, really, that have happened. There was a woman named Kathleen that I videotaped, so if we could show that.
Sure. As I bring that up, we want to invite any of you with questions to go ahead and ask those in your chat box. But here is, hold on just a quick moment. Here is Kathleen.
And that's how I first heard of her.
Let me start that over.
Of Louise's for a while, and that's how I first heard of her. I am really so happy for the first time in my life. I am feeling healthy. I think as a child I was always fragile, and I came to Louise by chance December 21st, which is a very special day. When I called early December, there were no openings. I got a cancellation. Kerry called me the next day to say I have a cancellation on December 21st. To me, that was an auspicious beginning. I came to Louise, and I had to go on a very strict diet. I have loved sugar my whole life, and you might say I was a candy addict, and it was difficult. But I wanted so much to get better because I was suffering from chronic fatigue syndrome, Lyme disease, and multiple chemical sensitivities, and I was very, very sick. I am happy and healthy for the first time in my life, and it is only about 3 months, which I know is a miracle. Thank you, Louise, and thank you, Janice, for having recommended me to Louise.
Oh, you're welcome. It's so good to have you here, and we're so delighted to see such positive results in such a short period of time. You know what, Odessa, would you mind sharing with people? You do not look your age at all, and you are so spry and amazing, and I am just so grateful to have met you.
Well, I am 81 years young. I shall be 82 in September the 6th. My father lived to be 99 and a half, and his mom, my grandmom, lived to be 99 plus also.
Wow.
So I come from a very, very, what shall I say, very healthy stock, or whatever you would like to say.
And you're still doing great things in your life, and I just love that. I love that you have your life back.
Yes.
And have your energy back, and you're out of bed, and you're purchasing homes and doing all kinds of wonderful things in the world and meeting great people, and again, it's great to see. So thanks for being here.
You're very welcome. Thank you to all of you who are looking at this video. I send my blessings of love to all of you.
And thank you, and likewise. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, that's cute.
She's delightful. I just love her. I got to tell you, I just get the greatest people. I am so incredibly blessed. And that was a miracle, really. She had chronic fatigue and was pretty sick. Chronic fatigue and a lot of Lyme disease and all kinds of issues, and been sick for years and years and years. And here at 81, I get to meet her and put her in the group. She was in our last group, and miracles just seem to happen. I really probably saw her privately 3 times, maybe 4. And I was like, wow, so I can't promise you anything, but I got to tell you, I'm senior families as well. So that's where we're coming from with this, and hope that you can certainly join us. I just love the groups as much as I love the individual sessions. Yes, we have a big grand opening coming up. If you are going to be in Albuquerque, please join us. It's October 5th. That's the first day of Balloon Fiesta. So we're having it in the afternoon. People can go to Balloon Fiesta in the morning and then join us for, you know, freebies and workshops and all kinds of fun stuff. So that's coming up in October. And I also have a class coming up October 24th, 25th and 26th is the Geotran class. Some of you who are on today might understand what this is, and I don't want to go into it in great detail, but there are some YouTubes out there that you can look at Geotran. It's a digital numeric language, actually. It speaks to your energy field. So it actually helps change the memory fields that hold the record, your past and present, and who you really are and what your potential is. And so it's codes. And so it's 2, 3 love, 5, 3 forgiveness, 6, 5 choice, 9, 2 freedom, 4, 2 greater love. And there's codes that you learn to do on the body on skin points, which are like acupuncture points. And it does shift people to great places in their life. And it's really what got me to a place of even opening an office years ago. I can't believe I'm doing this for 10 years. I do credit the Geotran work with helping me do that. And so I love teaching that class too, and helping people get to the place in their lives that they really want to be, and allowing their gifts to shine. And that's always the goal.
We're also going to, you're doing that workshop, that's an in-person workshop in Albuquerque, but a portion of that will be on video streaming for listeners around the world, so stay tuned on that one. It's fascinating that Louise can offer it that way.
Yes, I'm so excited. And so as always, I just love doing this. And I love hearing from all of you. So I do want questions if you have questions, but I just want to thank you all for being you. We love helping you with your health and all your wellness needs. You know, I'm always looking for those result-driven modalities that teach us how to be healthy and, again, manifest our gifts and allow your gifts to shine. There is the website's right there, and actually our phone number. We should put the 505. So it's 505-797-0540. So you're welcome to call us as well. And our website is www.abqnaturalhealthcenter, all one word, no spaces, .com. And then to sign up for Brain Boosters, and I encourage you all to sign up. I don't think you'll be sorry. In fact, I know you won't be. So it's www.acoustichealth.com/brainboost.htm. And again, we're offering that just through the weekend, so through the next couple days here. So by Sunday, if you get us your information, we can get that free person in there. And so when you go to sign up, you'll see that we need your name, your birthday, where you were born, and your family member's person. Okay, so we want to put a family member in there, and I would encourage you to just do family members. I can't do friends, but I want to put a family member in. And the reason I've done that is this. When I started putting, like my husband in or my kids in the very beginning, or people put somebody in their family in that they are close to, they can watch the changes in them and actually observe it. And sometimes it's subtle, but it's powerful. And we will often see the changes in our family member before we will see it in ourselves. And so I do want to encourage you to put a family member in there. When I have husband and wife teams, so when the wife comes to me and gets permission, you need permission from your family member to put them in an energy work group. I kind of come from a place powerful frequencies to shift people, and I want them to know that that's happening with them. They don't have to understand it, but they have to know that that's being done. So get that permission from your person and put their information in there as well. And so we want to, again, offer that to you. The reason I need your birthday and where you were born is because the computer works on that. In other words, it knows you by that information. the best way that I can explain that is something that Deepak Chopra said. He said, you know, every star in the universe is its own little ball of energy, and so are you. And so the way that prayer works is when you're thinking of somebody and you're sending that long-distance prayer, and you have an image or a picture of either them in your mind, or you have their name, or you have their name and their birthday, and again their place of birth, there isn't going to be any other Mary Smith born on your particular day in your particular town, most likely. If you have a common name like that, use your middle name as well, okay? Or you can use a maiden name and a married name. So you'll give me your whole name so that it's likely to reach you. When I do animals, and so I also want to offer you, if you have a family, if you don't have a family member and you go, but I have a dog, I have a cat, can I put them in with me? Yes, you can. For your dog or your cat, when I do long distance biofeedback on dogs and cats and animals, I can either use the address of where that cat or dog live. If they wear a collar though with a what do you call those, like a registration number, if they have that number and they're wearing it all the time, it's going to reach them better if I have that number. So after their name, if you just want to give me that number, that will help as well. Okay? Because a lot of times we don't know our pet's birthday. So you can do that as well, and that will help a lot. I have a cat that I've been working on in Los Angeles for, I don't know how long now, but that cat was pretty sick. And we put the cat in the group, and I was working on the cat weekly, and it's eating again and looking better, and the owner was amazed. She was like, wow, this is just amazing. And animals receive the frequencies too, and they're so open that they receive it, really, really right away. It's pretty neat. So I invite you to do that if you'd like. And then if anybody has questions, let's make sure that we answer questions today.
Well, thank you for that, Louise. These groups are really powerful, and one of the common questions we get is, do people have to be open to this, and what's one way that people can get aligned in their mind to be able to be open to receive it?
That's a good question. Yes, the more open you are, certainly the more you're going to receive. But what I have found is, and kind of in a jokingly way I can say here, even the engineer types, like my brother's an engineer, and even though he's logical, he's not so open-minded. They will still receive it. It just will take a little longer. So some people receive the frequency right away, and they're going to feel different even later today. And others will just take a couple weeks, and then it seems like those engineer types, if you will, might not receive it right away, and it builds though. And so what I have found is it's consistent weekly sessions that matter. And so the only way for me to do those in my schedule today was the groups, and that's why I like doing this. Because when you receive it weekly, everything shifts. It's consistent.
You also do these, this same program is also for, it helps to awaken abundance, it helps to make your skin look young and healthy. So it's not just a category of brain boosters, because the brain, as you mentioned today, is the foundation of the health that we see and enjoy. So by balancing it with these frequencies, yes, that's how it works in all these other areas of our life. We have a question coming in. Will these frequencies help me to heal from lung issues and digestive issues?
Yes. Certainly I can work specifically with you individually if you want it specific on lung, but I do a lot of digestion work with the brain because, as you heard today, everything is connected to the gut. And so I'm always in the frequencies, I'm giving digestive enzymes, I'm usually giving minerals, I'm helping the glucose be uptaked in the brain. So there's different things that will come up each week for the group, and there's also different affirmations that come up each week for the group. But I can do lungs, so people will email me sometimes and they'll say, can you work on sleep tonight? I've been having trouble sleeping all week. Or, you know what, I've had itchy eyes from allergies. Would you mind working on the eyes tonight? So I can work on the lungs. So yes, I can probably help that. And we can see how that does in the group. If you needed, like I said, a more personal session on that, we can do that in the future as well if you like. So just know that I'm open to whatever's going to help you.
And when we get together on our monthly webinars, those are full of great information. Again, you don't have to be there because it's these weekly transmissions of energy that you're receiving. And so there's affirmations that are emailed the following day that you get, and that facilitates anchoring in these energies as well and shifting your belief system that you talk so much about. And Dr. Louise shows the system. It's a really neat, I don't know if you've got time to show this now. We weren't really prepared to show this, Louise, but we could switch that if you're able to bring it up. But in the webinars, we're able to see that this is like a scanning process of the group brain. And it's just fascinating. So share a little bit more on how the common things in the group arises to be.
I've got to get the keys right now for this, but I can put the keys in and actually bring up that program if you want me to. I'm using 2 different programs on the group, mainly. I mean, sometimes I shift it out and use a different one. I have, like I said, I'm a little bit of a biofeedback junkie. I have 5 programs now, and I use them all interchangeably. And one of the ones that I use for this group actually scans the circulation of the brain, the nerves of the brain, and the nerves of the spine for the group. And it puts it back in balance. And what I notice is, in the very, very beginning, like the group will have all these different areas of the circulation of the brain out of balance. In other words, I'll get numbers and they'll be higher. So let me get those keys, and actually I can pop it in and show it to you. While I'm doing that, Loren, if you want to show, and I've got it on mine, somewhere I got it. Let's see, where did I have it? I was going to show the Mind Gems. If you want to just share my screen, do I have to do that first?
Yes, I've got Mind Gems as well.
So if you want to show Mind Gems, because this is a tool that I'd like you all to use because it helps balance the 12 brain rings. And so it's little like touches on your body where you touch certain areas, and they help increase your hearing ability. They help put you back in present time. They help clear fear and switch on your brain. And so people will tell me, too, after doing Mind Gems, their headache went away. Or, they felt calmer that day, or they slept better. And so I give these to all my clients and have them do them. So if you want to pull it up and walk through that, and I'll get the keys to the program, and we can show a little bit of the program so people can see it.
And this Mind Gem sheet, we'll just go through it. You see, it's very simple laying of the hands, and we have a page set up for you as part of this group where you'll just click a link and download this PDF. And there's also a video. If you go to YouTube, you can find Louise demonstrating this in a video. It's a healing conversation with Louise Swartswalter. You can find that YouTube video, and she goes over all of these as well. Okay, so those are real simple for you.
Yeah, those are amazing. What happened? Remember, Loren, when you first did those?
Oh my gosh. Yes, a physical, a very strong physical. Well, it was actually the brain soul. You also did the brain soul balancing, that there was a physical release of lots of stored memories and energy from other people in my family. Mm-hmm.
That was way cool. But I remember how you shifted even during the Mind Gems, because Eric was videotaping us, and I watch people when they start to do these, how they sort of shift and they become more in balance, and their whole sort of, it's almost like a aligning of the chakras, if you will. they become more balanced. And so I do the mind gems every morning and every night, and they have helped me tremendously in my life create everything that I'm, that I'm doing. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to pull up, and then what we can do, as soon as I get the program up here, we can share my screen and I can show you. This is one of the biofeedback programs that I use on the group. And then the other one that I use is called the Beautiful Balanced Brain. And so in the webinars, we will show these so that you guys can see what they are, you can experience it, so you know what's really happening. And then if you ever did want private stuff, I can do that as well. And there's a way for me with your computer to show my screen just like we're doing here, so that if I was working on you and I'm on the phone with you long distance, I can show you what's coming up on you as well. So there's lots of different ways, creative ways with our technology today to do all this. It's very, very cool. So I'm pulling it up right now, and then after I get it up here, we can share my screen.
There was another question that came in about your radiation button, and that does bring, I always like to share a number with everyone too. And so get your pen ready. The number, while Louise works on pulling up that screen, the number is for radiation 481-2453. 481-2453. 481-2453. I have that on my cell phone, computers, and that's from Grigory Grabovoi. You can go Google his work. Eric Berglund also taught on Grigory Grabovoi's numbers. So that is a good number to have handy. Also, Louise, the spiritual teachers and meditation, people in meditation are receiving that we can ask for the molecule. There's a protein molecule in the ocean that would eat radiation. So all we need to do is consciously, in meditation, call on those molecules to do their work and go have dinner, so to speak.
That's cool. So how do I share my screen here?
Okay, here we go. Your screen is coming up.
Okay. Okay, so can you see the program?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what I would do. So I pulled up the group. So this is the brain, this is the brain group. And let's do circulation of the brain. And so what you'll see here is this is the group's brain. And this column here that says results just shows me that the higher the number, the more out of balance. So these are different parts of the brain that would be out of balance for the group. Now certainly if you were an individual client and you were here, we would get to see what's out of balance for you personally. But by balancing all these, it isn't going to hurt anyone in the group to receive this. But I couldn't give the group testosterone, let's say, because some people may not need testosterone. But this kind of thing I can do. And so it's the sinus, sagittalis superior, it's an artery, vena is a vein. So those things are out of balance for the group. The dura mater. So if I click and select all of these, and I'm waiting until the result of the improvement is 100%. And then I click off of that. And so what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for all of those to get to 100%. And then I can go on and do other parts of the body or the brain. I can do the nerves of the brain, the nerves of the spine. We can do digestion. We can do hypothalamus, pituitary, the adrenal gland, the kidney, the lungs, the eyes. So this is one part. This is just one part of this program. There's other parts of the program that will pull up maybe the flower essences or a color that will help balance this particular group, the Brain Boosters group. And so all of what happens is I have to load all of your names, birthdays, and places of birth in a document that I put into this program when I'm going to work on all of you. And so that's how I do it, and that's how I'm able to work on a group and not just an individual person. And so I called the group, and you can see it says Now Treating Brain Boosters Group 2013, and then it tells us what it's working on. And so it's sort of going down the list here, if you will, rebalancing that. And what I notice is, and actually it's going fairly quickly, what I notice is these numbers will all be higher in the beginning. By the time I get to that last month that we're in the program, these people's brains are pretty balanced. And there won't be as many that are out of balance because we've been doing it weekly. And so that's where I want to encourage you to understand that when you're in consistent weekly sessions like this, there isn't anything better. You're constantly working on changing your DNA, changing your brain, improving your health. It's just, it's pretty neat. It's really pretty magical. And so I've always looked for the fastest way to heal because it took me so long. And so I go, well, what's a faster way? What's a better way? And so when I decided to actually use this in conjunction with the other program that I use at the same time, I'm doing two at once. So I have like 3 computers around me right now. So I do wear my beads and all my radiation protection. And I sit on a computer pillow for protection and all kinds of stuff because I'm on computers all the time. But you can see that most of this is going to 100%. So just in terms of time here, I normally would let that continue. But I just want to show you, you can do anything in digestion. You can do anything in circulation, anything in respiratory, anything in dental, anything in genitourinary, so it's the bladder, the kidney, the female, the male, any kind of muscles. So I'm able to help people not have knee surgery, all kinds of stuff. The nerves of the brain we can do as well. And so again, it's going to work on the nerves of the brain. And then there's a second part of this program that I'll show you that goes into, like I said, the flower essences and a couple other things. The third part of it is actually sound. So it's listening to sounds. And I use the other program that I have, the Solfeggio frequencies that you heard, for the sound part. So I don't actually use the sound part for the group with this program. And there are times that, we're really working with somebody individually, and honestly, even though I know what some of these are Latin names. So it's incredibly scientific. I have to look some of these up sometimes. So, I know that this isn't, that's an artery, but what particular artery it is, I don't know. So if someone has had a brain injury or really having to focus on something for somebody, we certainly can do the research and look things up and actually find the specific nerve that we need to work on. So in that sense, sometimes I have to say to you all that, I get those people sometimes who have been through the whole medical loop, and the doctors aren't figuring out what's going on. And if we can pinpoint it here, or just know and believe. So a lot of stuff is certainly about belief. And here's a wonderful little quote. It says, "Don't allow your belief to be suppressed by the intellect's demand for proof. Don't wait for proof. Believe and then allow the truth to manifest." And Emmanuel said that.
Good words for these times. We know it. When you believe it, you will see it. There's a question coming in. If we can't make the webinar meeting times during the live event, is it possible the event can be recorded and posted to view, and will we receive the same benefits? Thanks, Louise, from Christy.
Yes, Christy. So yes, we will post those, because we always post those, so that you can listen later if you can't attend the live webinar. And because I'm doing the sounds and stuff on the webinar, it's kind of embedded, if you will. And then often I do pieces of this just like I'm doing now to show you all. And because your name, if you're in a group, and again, your name, your birthday, and where you were born is loaded in there, you're receiving this. And you'll be receiving it weekly. So you'll receive the benefit both from the webinar and from being in a group.
And what we find is that people can feel, some people feel the energies before they even start. And definitely, personally myself, when I wake up on Thursday mornings, wow, it's wonderful. I've slept a lot better. That's my issue. I wake up in the middle of the night and then stay awake for a while. So definitely the brain balancing program, Wednesday nights are always a great sleep time. And actually, this group has not started for some of us, so it's kind of like a few weeks without it. And I wonder if I notice it. But it's also, as you mentioned, Louise, it's almost like we get better at staying balanced by doing this frequency medicine over a duration.
Yes, yes. I just got an email from a woman who was in the Beautiful Amazing You group. So I do like an anti-aging Beautiful Amazing You group in January. And then I do an Awakening Abundance group in the spring, summer. And then the brain group is in the fall. And she was in the last group. And now she's in, just getting started in the, we'll start the brain group. And she said, I am sleeping better. I'm less stressed. I'm not getting as irritated. I'm just absolutely amazed after 3 months what's happened. And, and honestly, sometimes I start working with somebody and they really do have a lot of fear, a lot of anger, some issues. And I lived there. I was there. I understand that. So, and yet it's sometimes really hard to get them to sort of begin to start to shift. Well, if I just do a couple sessions on them and begin to shift them, and then we put them in the group. So what I found is even my personal clients. I'm thinking of a couple of people right now, and this one woman I think I saw maybe 4 or 5 times, and she was tired. She wasn't being able to function in her life. She wasn't motivated. She was kind of not even on good terms with her husband. Things were sort of falling apart for her, and started working with her, gave her some supplementation too, and so I saw her about 2 times, and then she was in the last group too, the Beautiful Amazing You group. And what happened was the combination of the group and those personal sessions, because I wanted to know how many sessions I did with her, because I looked back and I was like, oh gosh, I haven't seen her that often. How many times did I really see her? And it was 5. I saw her 5 times, and she was in the group. And the change in her was just so amazing. Energy, vitality, better sleep, going places with her husband. Family came to visit, was able to sort of handle that. She's pretty good on her diet. She eats a lot of cultured food. She was able to even just take less supplements and just do it with food because her digestive system was better and she was healthier. Amazing changes, and I think it was because it was a combination for her of, tweaking a little bit privately, but also that group took her further. That would have taken me 2 years to get her there a couple of years ago. So that's what I like.
Yes, and the results that you see. Yeah, it's good. You see.
We're only at 21% for our nerves at the top there. So, so that's what I mean by in the beginning, when you're first working with a group, it's going to take a little bit longer. Of course, I just have the name of the group loaded in here. I don't have people's names, birthdays, and information yet. And so it's having to sort of try to reach the people who are connected to this group. So if you all on this webinar and you're really hooked into it, you're there with us, you're receiving this, but you would receive a percentage, a much big percentage bigger if your name, your birthday, and where you were born were in there. It would reach you better. Just like when you call on the telephone or you send a text, you're sending it to somebody. Does that make sense?
It does. And there's a question about the birthplace. Someone has a question. Is it the place of birth, the hospital town, or the city of residence?
That's a good question. I believe it's the city of residence.
Excellent.
Yes.
Now, when adding a child to the group, do you get their permission or the parents?
Usually the parents. mean, it depends how old the child is. If they're really aware, like I've had some 9-year-olds who are really aware and they understand energy work and all that, and parents say, hey, do you want to be in this group with me? And usually they're going to say yes,
Mm-hmm. And another question on the recording of today's webinar. Yes, it will be available later. We're going to put it up on a YouTube channel for you all to watch it online. And we'll also have a link if you choose to download it. You can do that as well. This is something that you can share with those that you love and experience it as well. So thank you all for joining us. Last call for any questions. That's it for the questions. There is a couple of questions on your radiation button.
Okay.
Yes, tell us about that.
There's a cell phone one, and there's a bead, and there's one that is about as big as a quarter that you can put on computers, hot water heaters, TVs, that kind of thing. Well, I'm going to have to minimize this so I can reach this. How do I do that? Right the screen.
You shrink it down, Louise. There you go. Okay.
There we go. Okay. And so what I'm doing the flower essences right now on the group. And so what I do is I wear a bead, and then on my cell phone and my phones that are cordless, I have a little cell phone chip. They're just $15. So if you want those, I can send you those. Just call us. They're really powerful. Like I can tell. Like we got a new bed. So we got a sleep number bed, like one of those really expensive beds where you pump up the you pump air in it, because I'm so sensitive I can't tolerate beds, and we haven't had a new bed in 25 years. So we decided we should get a new bed, and you pump air into it, so it's actually plugged into the wall and has a pump. Well, I don't do well with electricity around me like that, and plugs underneath my head and that kind of thing. And so we didn't put a resonator chip, which is this quarter-sized chip, on it right away. And so I couldn't figure out what happened to me for 2 nights. And I was like, God, I'm not sleeping good. I hope it's not this new bed, right? Because I did let it air out and stuff before. And Bruce said my husband said to me, we didn't have the resonator chip on the pump, on the actual electrical pump. So when I put the resonator chip on that pump, boy, did that make a difference. And then I actually unplug it too when I don't need it plugged in. But the resonator chip just on there really made a difference, because again, that's almost like right under my head. So what I notice a big shift for people with those. So if you don't have some kind of protection, or you're sensitive, or you're not sleeping well, then you do want to do that. So this is what I wanted to show you. I'm sorry, go ahead, Loren.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead with that. Go ahead.
So these are the flower essences, and these fractals that you see here, these pictures on the kind of on the right here, that is the energy field of the group interacting with this particular flower essence. So if the negative condition is the inability to accept acknowledgement, the positive outcome is the ability to receive love and acknowledgement, so receiving praise. And the next one is regarding wisdom, and this is loving will. So this can assist someone in having a sense of a powerful, loving presence here on earth. And so if I compile the report here, it's going to keep those top ones in there. And so I just did, if you see over here on the left, I did 3 evaluations. So I did the flower essences, I did the nerves of the brain, and the circulation of the brain. Do we have time? Yeah, I'm going to do one more thing. So we're going to go back and go to individual selection. P. And so we're going to evaluate what colors come up for the group. And so the color is brown, but the picture is this beautiful star. The next one is khaki, and those are calming colors. Now the value here, 100%, even if it's a negative number, it always defaults at 100. If all these value numbers were 35 or above, this particular tray having to do with color would be important for the group. Because these are lower numbers, color therapy may not be that important for this group. So it's only going to keep the brown one. And then another important place that I go to is the affirmation tray. And so it's going to evaluate affirmations, and again, it's going to resonate or choose the affirmations that are most resonating with the group. Okay? And so the top one here is, my subconscious mind knows at all times what particular goals I need to be setting. My subconscious mind is giving me this information at this very moment. And look at this, I bring the dopamine production in my body into a state of perfect balance and harmony. I fully forgive and release you to the forgiving infinite intelligence which has set us free in its love for us. And I'm grateful to be in service to my Creator, support, and I love to find ways to help others. So what I actually can do is copy and paste this into a box here in a minute, and then you're going to receive all these. So right now, all it's done is gather information. On the actual receiving of the frequencies is done by me broadcasting this to you all. Take a minute here. And then in this box, I can actually put that affirmation or any other affirmations. You know, I am balanced. Oops. And all my neurotransmitters are harmonized, or whatever we want in here. Okay, and so that's going to play in the background, and then I set a timer here and just begin communication. And those pictures, this is just, the number actually goes to a box where I can create a homeopathic remedy specific for you if it was you on here. But in a minute that will change and you'll see another fractal. And so those fractals are the information that your body is receiving or this group is receiving for balancing. So that's how it kind of works. Cool, huh?
It's really cool. So here's a question, and it's from Tay. Tay has been with us this whole entire year, and she loves it, and she's one who feels the energies before they begin. But she's got a question to make sure that she's getting the frequencies accurately, or to her potential, because her name Tay is a mathematical. It's a what's her question here? She sent it in an email, so that's not her real name. Her real name is another name, and she's wondering, should she give that to you, or she just wants to make sure she receives the frequencies accurately. So is it a birth name?
If she's already receiving them, in other words, if she's already receiving them with the name Tay, then she probably doesn't need to change it. If she wants to do an experiment and we want to put in her other name, and we can certainly put Tay next to it, we can do that as well.
Okay.
Does that make sense? You know, so if she's sensitive that she's receiving, so Tay, if you're receiving those energies and you actually feel it, you probably don't need to change anything. You know, because a lot of stuff, our identity really is about what people call us. So if you have a nickname too, so let's say your name is Rebecca, but you go by Becky. If it's you're still gonna receive it with the name Becky.
Again, I just want to reiterate, you know, this is leading edge, innovative work that Dr. Louise offers everyone. And the fact that we're doing it on a group level, it's quite amazing. I was introduced to Dr. Louise through the Peaceful Meadow Retreat in Boulder, Colorado, through Eric Kolsar and Gisela Kroger. And it's because of Dr. Louise's incredible work in this arena. No one else is doing it. And to see that she's got this passion for it, because she's done it in her own life, and she really works hard. Dr. Louise is I mean, Wednesday nights, you get to bed, it's after midnight, it's in the wee hours of the morning that you get to bed because of this work that we're doing on the groups. So it's fascinating that we're able to do it on a group level too, because there's one Louise here and all these people that can be helped with it. So thank you, Dr. Louise, for studying
You are welcome. You're welcome. It's just been great fun, and and I always say the more people we can help, the better. And then I actually do kind of say to all of you guys, you're an experiment, because I constantly tweak this and use different information, different trays, different combinations of machines that I'm playing with. And so and you truly are sort of, this is experimental work, and it is on the forefront of what I believe medicine is going to be in the future. And so it's just really fun, and I love having the good results that we have. So that's the goal, is to be able to really help people be who they came here to be, and to again allow their gifts to shine, and to manifest and do the things in your life that you want to be doing.
Again, thank you, everyone. There's comments coming in to thank you, Louise. It's great information. And again, if anyone has any additional questions, you can reach us via email. Just reply to the emails that you're going to get. We invite you to be a part of our group. It really is quite incredible. Give it a shot. It's really fun, and there's a free person that you can add with this. That in itself is a great value. We wanted to just mention one more time that that person that you add, that person, yes, should believe as well. I say believe, but be open to the concept. And also, Louise, you mentioned that the person should be aware that they have been added to the group as well.
Yeah, if they're aware, they may not understand it, and you don't really have to understand it. It's hard to understand this or even to explain it. But if someone's just open to the fact that there's going to be energy work, kind of like, so oftentimes I have clients, and it's the wife, and says, can I put my husband in the group? And I said, absolutely, just ask them for permission. Just tell them you're doing energy work on them, that there's going to be energy work that you signed up for, and would like to include them in this energy work and get their permission. So they don't often have to know what it is or understand it, but it's just really their verbal permission. It would be like if you were going to douse somebody, or like, you use kinesiology or dowsing, you would want to ask first before you enter their energy field. So that's all. You're just asking.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Thank you again. And that's all our questions today. Again, thank you everyone for being here. If you joined us late, we'll have this up on an email for you to download. Look for our email with information about joining this program. Thank you, Louise, and thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Loren. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much, Loren. I just love working with you, and I want you all to have a great weekend, and look forward to having you guys in the group.
Great. Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks, Louise.
Thank you.
We now leave you with music from the universe, created as mathematical notes were assigned to musical notes.